The first day ever that I went to Hawaii, it was 2 days before my 16th birthday, and I was going surfing at a place called Hukipa on the North Shore of Maui, and I was with a friend, and I was a professional windsurfer at this time, so I was quite a talented person in the water, and I was swimming out with him. We were looking at each other. We both looked forward, and about 4 meters in front of us was a fin about that big, 14, 15 inches long. We found out afterwards that if a tiger shark has a 15-inch fin, it's 14, 15 foot long. It literally swam across in front of us.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. We have Antony Baker on the call. Anthony, great to finally connect. Where are you calling from today?
We are, great to be here, Art, firstly. Thank you for taking the time to having me come and have a chat with you. We are on the south coast of the UK. In a place called Angmering is where our office is, and we are on a golf course, which is lovely. You can see out. We were just sort of talking off air about the temperature outside. It's about 15, 16 degrees today. It's perfect golf weather. It's a beautiful day, and yeah, we live down here on the beach.
Amazing. I was looking at 15. Really interesting proposition. What inspired you to build it?
I think I kind of did my life the other way around. I was a professional athlete for many years, and then I went into business. So I kind of had the opportunity of living in different countries, flying, doing different things, and learning different areas of my expertise and getting a really good understanding of what worked well for me. But at the same time, I understood that people were very important. When I got into recruitment and then management consultancy in the banking space, it's really apparent that most of these big consultancy firms couldn't care less about the talent. They're just a number. They're just a way, a means for them to capitalize. And although these companies should make money out of it, they shouldn't exploit the talent from that perspective. So I learned about the talent aspect of it, and everything that we do, whether it's developing AI systems for banks or for wealth management businesses or law firms, or just doing recruitment for a smaller construction firm on the South Coast, it all comes down to talent. So even with AI nowadays, we call it HI and AI, which is human intelligence and artificial intelligence. So you need the human intelligence for the artificial intelligence to be able to work correctly. So over the last 3 years, I've been building a model which works on 4 pillars. Those 4 pillars are talent, enterprise, training, and solutions. And they're all underpinned by our own AI called 15 AI. And that is a multi-sector, multi-industry platform that works across 15 different industries, providing industry AI solutions, tools, and technology, as well as talent and consultancy services, as well as training, obviously, as well.
Oh, wow. You mentioned you traveled to multiple places and lived in multiple places. Where are those places? Which countries and cities have you lived in?
So when I was 16, I moved to Hawaii. I lived on an island called Maui, on the North Shore of Maui, and I applied my trade in Hawaii and around the world. So I've been to most countries, quite a lot of countries, I should say. I lived in Maui for many years, but I traveled. We did the world windsurfing tour, so I traveled around the world from Fiji, Australia, Mauritius, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, the Canary Islands, pretty much Holland, pretty much all of these places that you can think of. And we kind of based ourselves out of the UK when we were traveling the European tour, then out the Americas, we were based out of Hawaii, but I had my home on Maui, my first wife in Maui.
It's incredible. Have you done any diving with sharks or any other mammals?
You know what? It's funny. We were talking about sharks last night at the dinner table, but I've seen quite a few sharks. I've had quite a few sort of scary situations with sharks. The first day ever that I went to Hawaii, it was 2 days before my 16th birthday, and I was going surfing at a place called Hukipa on the North Shore of Maui, and I was with a friend, and I was a professional windsurfer at this time, so I was quite a talented person in the water, and I was swimming out with him. We were looking at each other. We both looked forward, and about 4 meters in front of us was a fin about that big, 14, 15 inches long. We found out afterwards that if a tiger shark has a 15-inch fin, it's 14, 15 foot long. So it literally swam across in front of us. We didn't really know what to do, so we kind of just carried on and just went out there, and carried on. But other than that, I've seen, one of the first ever events I won on Maui. There's a picture of me sitting on my board looking up at a helicopter that's taking a picture down, and it's taking a picture down. In the shot is 5 sharks, including the hammerhead sharks and tiger sharks. So yeah, I've seen my fair share of them.
Wow. That's actually one of my dreams to go there because I do freediving. I'm sort of a freediver. I can go down to about 30 meters in one breath and hold it for about 4 minutes. And on a good day,
Yeah.
But when I was in Florida, when I lived in Florida, we bought those little bracelets you can put on your arm and the leg, and it repels the
Yeah.
sharks from 10-meter radius because it's not an electrical thing, but it's a material which generates electricity when it's in contact with the salt water.
Yeah. It vibrates the water around it as it bounces off it. Yeah. They're quite interesting.
Yeah. Plus, there is a lady called Ocean Ramsey. She actually lives in Hawaii, I believe, and
Yeah.
she's an ocean conservationist, I believe. So she dives with tiger sharks and she touches them. She free dives on them and she basically just pets them.
So I've got a story for you then. It's a little bit of a lengthy story, but I appreciate we've come on here to have a conversation. That's what we're doing, right? So I was in I was a professional windsurfer. You know, I've won multiple UK international titles. So after I retired, I then went and did clinics and stuff like that. So I was on Maui and I had 10, 12 people who they're all like JP Morgan bankers, you know, really, really relatively rich people. So they pay to come to Maui for 2 weeks with me, and we stay in a really big house, and we like drive around. I take them windsurfing and coaching and do all this sort of stuff. Take them to all the places. And on day one, I'll try to make this story as short as I can. But on day one, we went to where I would normally windsurf when I was a younger man. And this guy was like, "Oh, you shouldn't go out there because you're not from Maui," and they're quite low. The locals, even though they're from California, are quite obtuse is probably the right word. And so anyway, we ignored him. We went paddleboarding, and 15 feet from the beach, we saw a tiger shark. I've never ever seen one at that place. He'd living there for 15 years. Anyway, we swam one swims past in front of us, so everyone goes and takes their paddleboards back, and we go and put them in. And then the next day, everyone's like, "Oh, you know, we've seen a shark. It's a bit of a rough thing, whatever." So we go back to the same place and we go windsurfing the next day. Again, long story made short, one of the ladies that was on the course, who actually is an author, quite a famous author, she felt that she had hit something that was a shark. So when she hit it and she went round the front and landed on it and had a panic attack in the water, proper panic attack, absolute meltdown. So I've gone over to her and I've grabbed her and I've managed to get her back to the beach. After about 40 minutes, we get back to the beach. We get on the beach. I'm like, "Look, is this, I've never ever seen this happen ever, you know, for 20, 30 years of doing this." So so anyway, we got back to the beach and they were like, "Right, we're never going in the water again." This is day 2 of 14 days. And they were like, "We're never going back." So anyway, we got Subway, fun enough, and we went back to Kanaha Beach and we sat on the beach and I'm like telling them stories about sharks, how there's never ever going to be any, you know, you're never going to get bitten by a shark. 30 seconds later, a kite surfer's getting dragged through the water and gets hit. He gets knocked so hard that he comes out of the water and the shark grabs hold of him and then instantly lets go. Tiger shark. We see this in a period of 2 days and everyone was like, "Never ever going in the water again. Never going in the water again. We're not going to do this again." Trying to make this as short as possible for this course. So I then eventually found out that there's this lady on Maui who is a marine biologist for
Yes.
tiger sharks. It must be that woman. So she was at the aquarium near Lahaina there on the sort of west side. So I've gone to I rang her and I said, "Look, can we come in? I've got these people. This is what's happened." She's like, "Oh my God, that's amazing story. You know, come in and see us." So I got these guys there somehow, and these are like 50-year-old men. They're not, and their wives. They're not like, you know, they were like, "We're never going in the water again." So we went and did this hour seminar. She did it all for free. It was amazing, and she talked about what they do with the sharks and so on and so forth. And then everyone went swimming with the sharks in the pool there. I didn't go in. I'll happily sit and watch them. But yeah, it was an amazing what she was talking about the tiger sharks and when they bite into you, what they like and what they don't like, and yeah, it was really interesting. That's one of the shark stories I've got up.
So the guy was bitten by a shark. Was he all right?
He is an Italian guy. I still got him on my Facebook, I'm sure, but he came into the beach and he was so excited to have pictures taken that he'd been in Hawaii and got bitten by a shark. He had like shark bite around him. It wasn't a big tiger shark, so it was only like about 1.5 foot, the sort of the mouth span. But, mate, he was like, "Take pictures, don't let them cover it up before you take pictures of it," and everything. It was gnarly. It was rad. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I definitely
Yeah.
got more than I'm bugging for now, in a sense of a story.
Yeah. I mean,
That's quite
I'll
something.
talk to you another time about some other shark stories I've got. I've got a great white shark story as well, but that's again
Yeah,
a
I got some
story
free
for another
diving
day.
stories as well because I went diving in
Yeah.
Cuba, Mexico, Thailand, a whole bunch of
Yeah.
places. So no target shark stories, but a lot of free diving stories.
Well, when you see a shark in the water and it's not on TV or whatever, when you actually see it, it's not graceful. It's kind of like its skin is like loose. It's like a baggy t-shirt over a bone. So when we did it when I was 19, I did my paddy day and night course. We did it over a week. We could go night and day fish diving wherever we wanted. So we went and all bought all the aqualungs and everything. And we swam out from our house and we're on our backs and we're going out to like a wreck. Halfway out, we heard this thrashing and the turtles are really big on Maui. So they're really big. So what they do is the sharks, they bite them and they take them out the water and they thrash them about on the top of the water to get the turtle out of its shell. That's how they eat them. Well, there was this shark, 15-foot tiger shark, in between us and the beach. We just went straight down, went straight to the beach, got out, and never went back again. So I was never a big fan.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
All
No.
right. I think we'll need to find a time for these stories later.
Yeah, I've got loads
in
of
a
stories. It'd be
podcast or
great to
another
talk
one.
about the free diving as well. That lady was amazing. Some fascinating people as well.
Yeah. All right. So let's just jump into the main questions. That was a nice tangent there.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on this podcast, by the way, everybody. We will get to the point at some point.
Yeah. What does 15 actually do at its core, like in one sentence?
So 15 is a marketplace providing the top 15% in talent, consultancy, training, and solutions to 15 different industries by utilizing AI.
Interesting. And how do you do that? So do you have a marketplace to help them
Yeah, so
apply
we have
with
a
AI?
marketplace. We're in the development stage of the business right now. We have some AI products, but in construction it's called Workmate, which is WorkMaite, and is a quantity surveyor tool that works in the construction industry. And then we have with the financial services, it's called Adonis, the AI. It all works off 15 AI, but each industry has industry-specific AI tools. And then we have our own platform for talent or into 15 AI. It all works on one platform, which we own, we built, and it's it's starting to really take shape. So we're really excited about it.
Let's see here. Have you heard of emergent? I mean, if you're building something, you probably heard of emergent, right?
Yeah.
Emergent at the
Yep.
stage.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you using it?
No. I don't do the development myself. I have teams. Our main CTO built Workmate, but built a load of AI tools for the law industry, loads of different platforms. So he's very knowledgeable. I kind of went down the road of learning all about that stuff, but in the end, I was like, we ended up just arguing about stuff then. And these developer guys are super complicated. He's exceptional at what he does, and he appreciates that I'm good at what I do. So the actual team, and Daryl's just left the office now, but the actual team from those guys works exceptionally well. I come up with the ideas on how we want it, where we want it to work. They make it work on the platform that we've got. The whole idea of our whole piece is us to be able to provide a one platform location for all of our products and services. Then you can, if you're in the financial services industry, you could just buy Adonis and use it. It's a project management tool, RFP management, recruitment tool, all of this stuff, and you can just go and buy it like on a monthly basis. So actually our services, when they fully launch at the end of April, all of it will be quite an immense product because the guys have been building it. We've been building it for 2 years.
Okay. Who is your ideal client right now?
I'm a hand on the shoulder guy. I'm not a guy that tries to drag as much money out of my clients as we possibly can. I don't think that's the right way to do it. I want to be able to help our clients. We call it top to toe. So I want to be able to help our clients with as much of their business and their challenges that they have. If we want to call us a solution orientated business, if they've got a problem with marketing, we have marketing teams. I was part of solutions. Fourth pillar from us is marketing, development, legal, sales, we've got a data company, we can do lead generation. So we can do pretty much anything that you want from in-house people that work with our business. And we can do that at a very, very affordable price, which saves our clients money from hiring the right people, providing an exceptional recruitment service. We just charge 10% upfront. That 10% guarantees them 15 months free replacement on anybody that's there. Nobody's beaten us on performance, quality, or price across any of our services. And we're an outsourced model as well. So we do things like transaction monitoring, KYC, AML, EDD, all of this sort of stuff for financial services. We do it as an outsourced solution, a per service use. So sales as a service, TM as a service. And like I said, we're trying to help each client with multiple things rather than just one. and we're doing pretty well at it, I think.
How do you identify the gap that 15 fills?
You know what? People used to say to me, "What are you trying to do?" And everyone used to say, "Oh, we're fixing a problem." We're not fixing anyone's problem. We're not fixing a problem. I'd like to think that we're helping our clients get to the end result quicker. I think 15 does quite a few different things. Like to start off with, we were really battling with how to explain it. Like you said, explain it in one sentence. It's quite a complicated thing to explain in one sentence, but we kind of nailed it. I think now, like, we are that hand on the shoulder. If a client right now could be spending, if they're hiring 25, 30 people, it's costing them 300 grand to do that. We can do it at a fraction of that cost and a better service and by people that actually understand them and by following up with them and by looking after the people because we got our own platform. We do our own training. So really, we're not trying to boil the ocean. We're not trying to take over the world. We want 1,000 clients across 15 different industries across the UK, USA, and UAE. If we've got 1,000 clients, we're a $500 million business. So that's not, we're 50 clients in, so we haven't even started yet, so we'll get there.
Okay. What stage is the business in today? Early traction, scaling, optimizing?
So we're pre-profit, we're revenue generating. We are seed funded, done by myself. We're in the process of VC funding, about to go through soon. Every penny of everything that's happened in this business came from me. We are client facing as of December. So we got our first clients in December. We had clients because I've worked with multiple people for a while, but actual properly facing clients in December. So we've got multiple projects that are running now from a £500,000 turnover last year to already we'll do 5-6 million this year. So we'll scale massively because the AI in our business takes up so much of just talking to a candidate takes an hour. If you're going to do it properly, it takes an hour the first time and then half an hour and then another half an hour and so on and so forth. And that's just to get them qualified, vetted and tested. Well, that can be automated or done by AI probably better than what it would be done by me or anybody else in the business. And that allows them to get put in front of the right person at the right time, but also it allows them to get everything they want to get out and the recruiter not trying to rush them. And, the AI piece of what we do it's to make people's lives easier and better and get to the result quicker. And we're finding that the more we build on this AI, and obviously with Daryl and the CTO, Bradley, these guys have done some fantastic work, and it is a challenge because when you're creating something that no one's ever created before, trying to explain it to somebody that's never used that before is an interesting piece, I can tell you.
Yeah, especially with the way how fast the AI is evolving. Whatever
Yeah.
was released and used half a year ago is obsolete by now.
Yeah, but I think that's the same with everything, right? If you look at who you were a year ago compared to who you are now, hopefully, if you're a smart enough lad, and I'm sure you are, and you sound like you are, that you've progressed and you've learned. You might not be any further forward, but you'll definitely be a different version of yourself than what you were a year ago. And I think if sometimes you bump into people and you go, "Oh, Christ, I saw that guy a year ago, 10 years ago." And he is exactly the same person now. He still lives at his mum and dad's. He still doesn't have a girlfriend. He's still going out partying every weekend. And he looks exactly the same. That person hasn't learned anything. But, I think there needs to be some development. Sometimes it's not always positive, but there needs to be some evolution, right?
That was a sad expression, to be honest, but some
Yeah.
people do live like that.
Yeah.
What major shifts are you seeing in your space right now?
I think if we look at the two industries that Daryl runs, the construction industry, in the construction industry and financial services, if we did look at those two, we went to a construction event called London Build in November. And we went to an event and the event was titled AI is coming. Is it going to take your job? That was the meeting that we went and sat in and we're like, oh my God, this is like going back 10 years. It was just unbelievable. Like the fact that the construction industry hadn't even thought about AI or, was like, no, we don't need it in this business. Why do we need it in this business? We've got to build a house. How's AI going to help us? And then you go to financial services and you got these massive companies like Barclays that are spending millions and millions of dollars of AI that no one's ever going to use because actually what they didn't do was research their company, research the market. They might have a good understanding on what product they need, but not how it's going to be adopted in the business. Because I had a friend that built an AI, a really good compliance AI, but he was a bit of a dick. And he just thought he knew more than everybody else. And when you're working with really smart people, if you tell them they're stupid, they're never buying from you. And he ended up going out of business. And it's not a funny thing to say, but it is is something that this business industry, because you see so much rubbish about it, so much negativity about AI, it almost needs people to go to figure out how AI best services them rather than worrying about the deep fakes or all the rubbish that's put on the news all the whole time. And then the world will be able to get used to it easier. But there isn't, I was on an AWS meeting and Jeff Bezos was on there and he said, if your business doesn't adopt AI within 18 months, you're out of business. It's a pretty big claim, but makes sense, doesn't it?
Definitely makes sense. Absolutely. um, let's see. Are most companies in your market proactively or reactive right now?
I think everyone's reactive, right? I think when you get to a medium sized to a large sized business, you just reacting to the issues that come along, right? You're waiting for it to come along. We call it horizon scanning in financial services, in compliance. No one's doing any horizon scanning. That they're for example, there's a new regulation coming out for employment law. We're partnering with a law firm. We're doing an event on the 29th of April in London, and it is a free event for people to come and learn about employment law. This new law that's coming in that's going to affect firms with their employees. Christ, I was looking at it yesterday. I know nothing about it. I was like, I have no idea about this law. I didn't even know it was coming. The people will come to this event and they'll go back to their company and go, use Barclays, for example, and they'll go back and go, right, there's this new law coming in. It's going to affect us massively. They're going to go, right, well, who's going to put it in place? And they're like, well, I'm not. I've got too much work to do. So the standard BAU of the business doesn't accommodate that. So they have to get a consultancy firm in to come and figure out how it works and goes. And that takes ages. The procurement period for that, putting that company on to do it takes years. And then they end up going past the deadline for this being something that's done. So then it's all reactive. We do RFPs all the time, like request for price for services that they're like, well, we need to do this right now. 3 months later, you're like, are we going to do this or is this not going to happen? Oh yeah, well, we need to do it right now. And then they always have this. That's why there's so many fines that are put in, regulated businesses because of what they're doing. They're not reactive at all. They're not proactive at all. They're just reactive. So we try to be as, proactive as we can here at 15.
Let's see.
Hopefully that wasn't me waffling on too much.
No, that's good. That's good. What's working really well right now for your business?
I think what's working well is our outsourced solutions. When you get consultancy firm in, just talk about financial services. When you get a consultancy firm in, the process of getting that firm through onto become a part of your PSL, your preferred supplier list, is so arduous that it's a pain in the bum. So you have like what you call due diligence questionnaires and all this stuff that comes out with it. So by the time you get on there and you go through the process with them, you can go, right, it's £1 million, for example. And they go, great, let's sign up for £1 million. And then once you've spent £1 million halfway through the project, you're like, right, it's going to be another £1 million. And they kind of expect that in this world. Amazingly, we provide a fixed price solution to everything we do. So if you want a service, it has a fixed cost. It's one cost. There is no, it took 2 days longer than what we said it would take, charging you longer. So our fixed cost services are transforming the marketplace. As we build and grow with our business, it'll be our number one provider because we've got the best people on the planet and we got affordable prices and it's quantifiable. You can go, right, I need 1,000 people put through an EDD program. Great. We know exactly what I can tell them in 2 seconds what that cost is. I don't have to go away and figure it out and do the math and try and figure it out. I can go, this is the cost. Bang, eliminates the downtime. And that once our AI is built, that will do that for us. So you'll just put in what your problem is and it will give you the solution instantly, how you can do it, how much it's going to cost, when it's going to happen.
Let's see. Do you use Claude by any chance? A bot?
Yeah, the guys do. Yeah. Every time I go into it, I end up just doing pictures and stuff like that. So I'm like, I just leave these guys to do it. But they use that a lot. Yeah.
What's been frustrating or slower than expected?
Funny, what about my business or building a business?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you'd asked me 6 months ago, I would have said, if a year ago, if you'd said, Antony, there's £1 million, I would have bitten your arm off for it. But actually, it probably wouldn't have been at the right time for us to take that funding. I think we needed to go through loads of different things. I think we've gone past that point now, and now I need some funding. So if you don't want to give us any money, great, talk to us. But I think the funding piece, getting that right is really important because you get it too early, you spend it on rubbish that you don't need. You don't fully understand the business if you've got to spend loads of money on learning it. So we didn't spend loads of money on that at all. And we're in the process now of getting to the point where we get some pretty decent VC funding. So I think the understanding the when to do different types of funding is really important. I would recommend any business owner that's got business worth 10 million or more to go and get some consultancy around when's the right time for them.
Where do you feel like you're leaking opportunity?
I do 90% of the work here. Um, and I would say because we're pre-profit, we're not spending loads of money on staff. So I do a lot of the work. I have a small team around me of people and stuff like that, but they kind of do the work that I give to them. They're kind of staring at me going, what do we need to do now? But also at the same time, I'm trying to build a business. Then secondly, we're trying to get funding. All of that takes time and everything from me. So it limits my capacity for be able to go out and do more sales. Hiring a sales guy that could be anywhere near as good as what we could be is going to cost 250 grand a year, which we just don't have to spend. So we kind of in that kind of like cycle of, well, I've still got to go and do everything. I tend to work quite long hours, but I don't think I'd have it any different right now, but it'd be nice once the funding comes in.
Okay, what metrics matter the most to you right now? Revenue, client acquisition, retention, operational efficiency?
Client retention is really important to us. It costs so much money to get a client in this business, but it also takes so much time. I had a client that wanted somebody from me, specifically this one person, because they are the best at what they do in onboarding crypto clients. And it took 2 months to get her on the books because they needed to onboard us. We're not even a financial services company. It was just such a process. It was ridiculous. So client retention is really important. I want to make sure that we can land and expand with the client, like to go there, figure out where the problems are, where they need help, and we like to help them in those spaces. So client retention is top of my list. I can't remember ever having a client. The only reason why we wouldn't work with a client is because they haven't paid us, because they were just complicated, or they just didn't have the right idea of what they needed in the project.
Okay, let's see. So what are you currently using for client retention?
So we actually have client retention. They have access to a client portal, so they can see where their projects are, their project management. They can do all their recruitment, all their access to all the jobs and all that sort of stuff on their own platform. So they don't really even need to call us. They can just message us and talk to us on their own service. So making sure that our reporting is done on time is really important in this business. I do personally do all my weekly calls with all the clients. I'm a eat a frog guy. I like to get all the bad stuff out the way first. If there's a problem, I'm the first person to know about it. And we're not overcharging for a start, which means you don't have to constantly give explanations on why this is happening or why that's happening. And we're very good at what we do. We've learned this over years, and I'm not saying that we're perfect now, but I've made some mental failures over the last 10 years, some outstanding failures. And
So
you know
do
what?
we
I
all.
wouldn't change it. Yeah, but I wouldn't change that because that's how we got to be very good at what we do. Maybe give myself some more time to play golf. Maybe that'd be something I'd like to change.
Is client retention same as client acquisition, or are those are different systems that you're using?
We have a data team. We have got a system that does data and lead generation. So we do quite a lot of that stuff across quite a few different things. So data retention, data acquisition, two different things. The acquisition of the client is so complicated in financial services because they might want to use you, but the procurement you have to go through to do it is outstandingly ridiculous. That's why we work a lot in digital assets and payments and the construction industry now, because you can go to crypto firm and go, we've got someone you want, and they go, great. And the next day they're working there. Whereas you go to a bank, 6 months later, you're still arguing with procurement. And then someone leaves and someone else joins and they don't want to have it. And it's just a pain in the bum. So, yeah.
Wow. Where do you want 15 to be in 12 months from now?
12 months from now, so in March, in the 2nd of March or 3rd of March next year, I would like to be fully, because we're established here in the UK and we're building the US now, and then we're going to go into Dubai. So I want UK, USA and Dubai. We have consultants in Dubai, but we don't have an office there. So we've got my COO and my head of the Americas is in New York and Florida. So my plan is to go in 3 months, is go from the UK to Florida. And we'll be moving my whole family over to Florida over the next year or two. Yeah, the plan is in 12 months' time to be fully established over there, have the business running over there, and having work in the UK, USA, and UAE
The big plan.
24/7. It's funny, when I was a younger man, I did direct sales in Australia. Brutal. I was really good at it, and I really enjoyed it. But I remember talking to an English guy, and he had an office in England. and Australia. And he had Aston Martin, and he had an Aston Martin. He was a membership, had some Aston Martin memberships. Wherever he went, there was an Aston Martin for him. And I remember talking to him. He was a youngish guy, only like 25 or something. And he was like, I said, why in the UK and Australia? And he's like, because then when I wake up in the morning, I can see how much money I've made in the US, in Australia. So he liked to make money 24/7, which is true. He goes to bed as we were waking up, and it works like that.
It's amazing. That's the way to live.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I've just got to plug myself in because my head.
Is your goal more for growth, acquisition, profitability, or positioning? 12 months from now.
Growth. I want to go insane growth. In 3 years' time, we'll have 700 people working for us. There's 10 right now.
Wow. So what needs to happen operationally for this to become real?
Sorry?
What needs to happen operationally for this goal to become real?
I need 50 million in funding because it's not cheap, right? Like what we're doing has a price that our AI costs a lot of money to build. I've got some acquisitions or some tech that we need to get. And then we need to just put 100 people in the UK, 100 people in the US, 100 people in the UAE, and then we just go and smash the life out of it. Go and do event after event.
Do an ultra event?
Sorry?
Do an ultra event, you said?
No, go and do loads of events. Smash the events. I like events, like all the financial services and construction events. We go to as many as we can.
Amazing. Well, that's pretty much all the questions I had so far. Any questions you have for me or anything you want to clarify?
No, it's interesting. Like I said, I think you sound like an interesting chap. I think we could have a great conversation over a beer at some point. But yeah, I mean, the freediving thing for me was, I did a TV series when I was a younger man, and it was called Geg in the Wind. It's a German TV series, Gone in the Wind, and it was like Neighbours, but Australia, a German version. And I was a stunt double for the lead actor because I looked just like him. And I had to train to stay under the water for 2 waves, but be hammered by the waves. So there's a place called Spartans in Hawaii and Maui, and it's massive waves. So I went out with a super famous lifeguard, like a Hawaiian lifeguard, part of the Hui, which is like this mafia in Hawaii. And I had to train. I trained for 6 months to hold my breath for 3 minutes. But at the same token, when you go over the falls on the way, and then we're talking, the front of the wave would be 60, 70 foot. It's bigger than a house. Yep. Way bigger than a house. I had to go down it on a board and go over the front and fall off and get hammered by the wave, and you stay under for 2, because by the time you come up, the next waves come over. So that was a pretty radical experience. So yeah, that was
How long was it in seconds? Was it 30 seconds? More than that?
I was under the water for just under 2 minutes.
Well, being hammered is a different thing than just being relaxed in the water.
Yeah.
Different thing. I mean, I have friends that do 10 minutes. I heard a story of a guy that did 20 minutes, but it's like that happened by accident. He blacked out and he woke up for no issues because mammalian dive reflex, blackout, that's basically what you're designed to do.
Yeah.
That's what you're designed to experience, basically, with no damage. Mammalian dive reflex.
Yeah, I was really super interested in that stuff, and I find with these big wave guys, you go out and they these bigger waves, they're kind of, because there's so much water moving, you kind of stuck with the thing until it decides that it wants to let go of you, and you don't know when that's going to be. And I find it really interesting. But yeah, as a young man, I mean, if I went out in that now, I'd die probably before I even hit the water. But it's interesting. But I appreciate it. Thanks very much, man. I really appreciate coming on your show.
Well, thank you for joining, and hopefully you will actually be able to reach the 1 year goal.
Yeah, no, we will do. We'll keep in touch anyway, and I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Amazing. All right. Thank you. We'll stay in touch.
Have a good day. Bye.